I was absolutely shocked. I was so shocked. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was shocked.
Maybe when I get divorced.
Please don't say that.
I'm unfaithful.
We are not monogamous.
This is blowing my mind.
So in this movie, you play Julie, a woman in a non-monogamous relationship, and you're also a producer in this movie. When you read the script, what stood out to you and made you want to take both roles in this movie?
Well, I really love Mike and Kyle's work. I had watched The Climb after I met with them a while before we signed on to make this movie, and I watched The Climb and I just thought it was such a unique tone and so funny and so thoughtful, and I loved Mike's filmmaking, I loved the writing, so then when they had the script ready, it just felt like the kind of movie that really fits with the movies that my company makes.
Yeah, and this movie is a rom-com, but explores relationships and love in a very unconventional and unique way. How do you think audience, especially women around the world, will relate to this story?
I think that people will just find it really entertaining. I don't know. I don't know how people will relate to it.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. It's very different from what I saw from the trailer. It's very refreshing also because we see a lot of rom-coms treating love in a very common way, and this one it stood out to me while I was studying for the interview. So, do you have a favorite moment from the set?
I think the day that Nick Braun was there, the few days that he was there and doing his magic tricks, that was my favorite. One of my favorite days of my life. He was really making me laugh.
And do you have a favorite scene or line? Because watching the trailer, I loved when Carrie says people go through stuff like this in the first year of marriage, and your characters just say no. And I thought that was so funny. Do you have a favorite one, scene or line?
Of my own?
Yes.
Oh, no. I like everyone else's work.
And everyone else's, you have a favorite?
I think it would be Nick Braun. It would be his scene.
What was it like for you to balance the emotional depth and the comedy of this movie?
Really fun. When you're dealing with really tricky subject matter, it's fun to have to talk about it through the lens of humor.
That's nice. And I was talking to them previously and about the premiere of the movie in Cannes that had like a 6 minute standing ovation. How was the moment for you?
I was absolutely shocked. I was so shocked. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was shocked.
Why?
I don't know. I think because when you, seeing it with an audience and then seeing their reaction, it's just a different, I forget in the process of editing, I watched it so much and you just forget that other people are gonna see it. I just didn't think people would like it as much as they did.
Now the movie's gonna hit the theaters. What message do you want the people to take from this movie that is so a rom-com so different than we used to?
I just think people should ask themselves who they are and what they really want in life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And just to wrap up, this year was an amazing year for you. You had, before Splitsville, you had Materialist. How do you feel like these both projects show you as an actor, even though they're both unique love stories in very different love stories?
I have no idea. That's a hard, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I don't look at myself that way.
We can clap. Thank you. Let's clap.
So in this movie, you play Point Carey, who are best friends. And there's a scene from the trailer that caught my attention. There is the fight scene, and you fight on the stairs, you jump through the window into the pool. How was to shoot that sequence? And if you have a favorite moment from filming?
My favorite moment from that sequence was probably going through the window. I think that was one of those moments where, you know, we did all of our own stunts, so it was definitely something I've never done before. And so I think that was definitely a moment
intense.
where I was like, yeah, oh, I might never do this again, but I'm doing this crazy thing right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. I have a moment where I burned his eyebrows off with a blowtorch, and that was my favorite moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what was the filming of it like? Well, it was intense. We did weeks of preparation for that whole fight sequence. The sequence goes on for very long, so we did a lot of preparation and training and choreography and dance, like almost like a dance choreography, and then we shot it over a course of 4 or 5 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you worked together on previous projects. How was Splitsville different from those earlier collaborations?
I think we've grown as collaborators. We're a bit. I think we yell at each other more now. No, I'm just we're shorter with each other.
Yeah, they're certainly shorter.
We've been working together for 15 years, so I think we have less patience with each other. That's probably the only difference.
Or more understanding. Less patience or more understanding.
More understanding for him, less patience for me. That's tends to how these relationships go.
And besides playing the leading roles, you also worked as director, producers, co-writers on this movie. And what was the most challenging part of wearing all of those hats at once?
I think the most challenging part was probably the short schedule because, with a longer schedule, you have time to switch between the roles and you can go, okay, now I'm going to go act. Let's take some time to act and then go back to directing. And when you have not enough time, you're shooting so fast, sometimes they overlap. And sometimes you're in character and also going, okay, I need to flag that and so that's a tough thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all somewhat feels like the same process at a certain point because it's all trying to craft the film in a way that is the way that we saw it. So I think all of it sort of becomes a little bit of like one push, but I do think probably hardest for you because of the directing element of it to separate from the performance. But for me, it felt just sort of like a natural, just one sort of natural progression.
And the film seems to me a little bit of both chaotic, but also very tender about relationships. How did you find that balance in the script?
Yeah, I think that was intentional to sort of juxtapose these two things that maybe don't always go together, but are exciting to us because it's surprising and entertaining. And so I think in the script it was always about, are we getting too tender and can we surprise with comedy here, or are we getting too comedic and absurd? Can we bring in some tenderness and some emotional, moments to sort of balance that? So the whole process, it was like a balancing act.
Do you have a favorite scene or favorite line from the film?
I think Save Jean Paul is probably my favorite line.
Yeah, there's a line where he says, "I say Save John Paul because we blow up this fish tank and the fish is named John Paul II after the Pope." And then my favorite scene is probably there's a scene where he rides a roller coaster with like 10 bags of fish and they all go flying everywhere, and that is pretty amazing comedic performance on his part.
And how do you think audience around the world will react to a rom-com that takes such a different approach about relationships?
Look, I think that it's strangely universal. I think we premiered the film at Cannes and you saw people who speak many different languages coming together and laughing at the same moments and really, really getting it. And I think that's it's a testament to the fact that it doesn't matter where you're from or what culture you come from. Relationships are relationships, and we might have different customs, but jealousy, everyone can understand jealousy, everyone can understand heartbreak and betrayal. And so these themes are universal, and we're going at it through a very comedic lens. We're looking at it in a very funny way. So it almost takes the pressure off of it. So we're not sitting in the pain of betrayal. We're sort of laughing at the absurdity of it.
You mentioned Kane, and the film had a 6 minute standing ovation. What was going through your mind that moment?
I think it was a little longer than 6 minutes, but let's be conservative. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I wasn't counting. I'm totally kidding.
I think the crazy thing about that moment is it's so surreal. The real pleasure of making and showing a film is the people's natural reaction to it while it's happening. I think for me that's the most rewarding element, is hearing people laugh or cry or gasp or whatever in the real time is the best acknowledgement. But it is really surreal when everyone just sort of stands and claps and you sit there awkwardly trying to balance it out. But it really was a testament to how people felt about the moment, and for that reason I really treasure it. I treasure that moment.
What was the biggest thing you learned about love and relationships while working in Splitsville?
I think what we were exploring, and maybe what we learned over and over again, is like there's no right way, there's no right answer, but there's like there's an acceptance and a beauty in the acceptance of whatever messiness comes from it, and that I think is in some ways what the film is exploring, is like letting go of our sort of preconceived notions of how our lives are going to turn out and kind of embracing whatever comes of it.
Yeah, I think what I learned was that you do best with a little perspective when it comes to love, and hopefully the film, gives people a little bit of perspective. It certainly has given me perspective.
And you two are friends in real life, and your characters play to know. And your characters are best friends. How your relationships made you help create these characters on screen?
I think we write characters that we want to play, and we write situations, and then I think once we get to performing it, there's this natural shorthand that Kyle and I end up having, because I don't think we feel the need to explain to the audience why they're friends, because we recognize that when we get in a scene together, the audience will recognize that there's this friendship there because we have a chemistry. And so that's, I think, maybe the biggest thing that kind of goes into the process, is like not feeling obligated to explain it, but just letting it explain itself just by the interaction.
And for you, Kyle, do you think the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think the benefit of working with your best friend and having such a close relationship throughout the film process just means you have another person who's on the same page as you. A lot of filmmaking is just getting everyone on the same page and lining everything up, and to have like a core baseline of like, yes, we both understand what we're trying to accomplish, and I know what I can do to help facilitate that, I think makes it a little bit easier for everyone else to sort of join and click in and find the rhythm.
And it helped to have a friend, because from what I saw, there are a lot of intimacy scenes. It also helped to have a friend there for you, talking about relationships. How was it? There was a conversation like after, you're like, oh, this reminds me of that. You had this kind of dynamic during.
I don't think we had time to talk to each other as friends on this movie. There was no like, hey, so how are you feeling?
No.
It was like
we got to get to the next setup.
Movie making doesn't have a lot of time for feelings or exploration of feelings. It's a lot of just like, okay, what are we shooting next? Can I get 4 hours of sleep?
Right.
Wow, because this movie is so inspiring, and it talks so different about relationships that I was like, oh, they are friends. Maybe they are talking like about their experiences, or they are taking what they are going through on screen to life also.
Certainly in the writing process, we definitely mine our own experiences and the experiences of people around us and try and push and explore it. But I think by the time it gets to filming, I think we're pretty locked in on what we're doing, and it's just about the best way to execute it.
And now the movie is going to the public. People saw it first at Cannes, but now it's going to the public. So what is the message you want them to take away from this movie?
That comedies in theaters are great.
I think really we just want them to laugh and have a great time. I think that's the baseline of it. Is like we didn't make the movie to push forward any particular narrative or spoon feed an audience anything. We just made it because we thought it would be wildly entertaining because we're talking about it.
Yeah, there's no message. We don't have a particular message in the film. I think it's more of a feeling of like, okay, like it's a feeling and an experience, and so we want to create like a really fun, crazy experience that's entertaining, along with maybe a feeling of optimism, if anything.
Hope. By the way, Julie and I had sex last night. Together.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
I slept with someone too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and it was good, so it's all good.
Oh, it was good?
We don't even have to talk about it.
You guys are so inspiring. I hope I'm this mature when I'm your age.
We're not that old. Go to bed.
No me voy, no